Deadman Wonderland is a story about violence, how people become violent, why people commit violent acts, and the residual effects that violence can have on the perpetrator and the victim. But that's only part of the story. At its core, Deadman Wonderland is a story about resilience. It's about learning to fight for what you desire out of life, even if what you desire is as simple as wanting to see another day. There are a lot of traits that great or successful people share, but resiliency might be the most important trait a person can have. The ability to fail, to endure, to lose, yet still try over and over again to succeed, no matter how much you may suffer for it. That's a quality that anyone who has achieved great things has in spades. News to no one, but the world isn't always fair. For a lot of people, it feels like it's almost never fair. And it's true that you can't control your circumstances in life. And just like a poker game, you have to work with the cards that you're dealt to the best of your ability. But you can control how you react to your circumstances. And you can control whether or not you'll succumb to those circumstances. It's easy to get up when you've been pushed to the ground, but what do you do when you're thrown off a cliff and expected to climb back up? Ganta's descent into the depths of Deadman Wonderland's prison is the story of a boy learning what it takes to make that climb.
Does freedom look like that to you, Ganta? Something harsh?
The ability to find strength in our weakest moments, to cherish our lives despite all the pain we might have endured, all with the knowledge that we may not know what our purpose is in life, but we desperately want to live long enough to find it. It's one of the fundamental and most admirable aspects of the human condition, and it's something that this show never stops preaching from the first episode all the way to the last.
Our lives are nothing more than suffering. Why hammer it into the kiddies' heads one at a time when you can teach them all at once?
In the beginning, Ganta's looked at as a weakling by everyone he meets, too weak to survive in a place like Deadman Wonderland. But Ganta proves himself to be stronger than anybody. Ganta wants two things by the end of the first episode. He wants revenge, and he wants freedom. Both things are highly unlikely to happen. To go on living and fighting each day, Ganta has to delude himself into thinking his aspirations are attainable. We all lie to ourselves about certain things. We block out what could otherwise drive us crazy if we actually gave it our full attention or viewed it as absolute truth. We do this because we don't want to believe or be reminded of how dark the world could be. But in Deadman Wonderland, ignoring your pain is the coward's way out. It's a sign of weakness that even those who seem strong can be deeply afflicted with.
I don't blame you for thinking we're a bunch of half-assers. If you look past that, though, you'll see we're all scared.
What I love most about Ganta is that in the end, he's the one who decides to acknowledge the dark side of life, and instead of deluding himself into thinking it's not real or running and hiding from it, he decides to attack it head on and see what lies beyond our suffering. Deadman Wonderland is far from the first anime to depict a young, naive boy taking on a big, dangerous world. There are countless examples of this same trope all throughout the shonen genre. Where Deadman Wonderland differs from its peers despite being a little bit more graphic and violent in tone is that this is a journey that the boy doesn't want to take. Naruto wants to become Hokage. Luffy wants to be king of the pirates. Gon wants to be a hunter and find his deadbeat dad. Ganta just wants to live a normal life. He wants to play video games, spend time with his friends, ask out that girl he's liked since he was little. He's worried about going on field trips, getting into a good school, what he's going to eat for dinner. He was a normal, boring teenage boy who expected to live a normal, boring life. But after one tragic event that he had no control over, normalcy was thrown out the window, and he was forced to overcome something that he could have never planned for and had almost no chance of surviving. But he did survive. Out of sheer heart, generosity, and resilience, he survived, and he helped others to survive as well. And that's why I love Ganta's character so much. In the end, The Deadman Wonderland anime doesn't give much resolution in the way of actual plot. If anything, it brings up more questions than it answers. The viewer is left unsure, maybe even completely clueless as to how or why things unfolded the way they did, as well as how events will unfold going forward. When I finally finished watching the show all those years ago, all I wanted was more. A second season, a spin-off, a movie, anything to expand the show and give me those answers that I felt I needed. But those answers never came. That one unresolved mindfuck of a season was all we got. The story of the anime doomed to lie where it was left. But it's been years since then. And rewatching the show now, I don't see its ending as a bad thing. In fact, from the meaning that I derived from the show, it feels like a perfect ending. In reality, we never get the answers as to why our life is the way it is. Things happen that are out of our control, and they put us on the paths that we're currently on. We'll probably never understand why the events that shaped our lives came to be, but despite that potentially sad fact, we're just expected to carry on, go on about our day in complete bewilderment as to how this world around us functions and our true role in it. And we do. Despite the pain of our past and whatever might be waiting for us in the future, we continue to live on for whatever reasons we choose. Selfish or unselfish, we find ways to move forward, even if we have no idea where we're going. But if Deadman Wonderland has taught me anything, it's this. There's a mountain to climb and a cliff to reach. And maybe that's all the motivation we need.